How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another video on the channel. Today I'm gonna be bringing you something a little bit different, as you might have already suspected. You don't usually see my beautiful playmat. But today's video is basically going to be a mail day type video, you know, just some stuff that I bought that I think you're gonna enjoy seeing. Nothing too fancy, nothing expensive or crazy power wise, but we all enjoy seeing some cool cards, right? Before we go into that, just a quick reminder that there are a couple of ways for you to help out the channel. The first one is to leave that like and subscribe. It's extremely appreciated. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. And the second one is by using my card trader affiliate link that I'll be putting in the description. I'm not sponsored by them, but I've bought some things there already. It's a great way to save on shipping because of their card trader zero policy option, whatever. It comes at no extra cost to you. You'll be saving some money on shipping and helping out the channel, so I think it's a win-win for everyone, right? Now I'm gonna start by showing you some sleeves, you know, the lesser cared about items basically. You can never have too many sleeves, so I was kind of needing some. Bought some white ultimate guard and some gray ultimate guard sleeves, so that's all there is to it. Now these next few items are basically two commander pre-con decks. I have some plans for the channel. I'm gonna make another video talking a little bit more in depth about them, you know, so stay tuned for that video. I know it's going to be a video or a short, but I'm going to make something talking a little bit more about these decks. Don't forget to watch that. I think it's going to be great for the channel. I think it's something that you guys are going to really like, so you know, stay tuned for that. Let me put this to the side just to have a little bit more space. Now these are all the singles I bought, you know. There are several reasons for me to have bought every single card that's in these sleeves. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a little cut on the video. I'm gonna stop right here, you know, just organize everything, make it like some piles, like a pile of cards that I want for decks, a pile of cards that I just, you know, think they're good even though they're a little cheap. Maybe they're kind of like slapped on, you know, a little bit. So I think that's the best way for me to organize this. I'm gonna stop the video right here, and I'll see you in a couple minutes. Okay, so as you can see, piles are finally made. Apologies for the light change. I know there's a little bit more light right now, but I'm gonna start with this pile. This is the one of those types of nostalgic cards, you know. Skullport Merchant. I've been playing a lot with this card and I really enjoy it. It's cheap, so why not? Jolhael Monvuli Recluse. This is one of the, I mean, not the first cards, but one card that I really enjoyed when I started playing on Arena. I used to have a deck that had it was kind of a janky deck, but it had a crazy combo with a card that I cannot remember the name. It was a Simic snake, I guess, and it would be huge by the end of the game, so I just decided to buy it. I think I won a draft with Killian, so maybe that's why I'm so fond of this card, but no special reason. Anax was in the deck that I first made Mythic with on Arena as well, plus this card is beautiful, so why not? Mirror Entity is one of those, probably the only really nostalgic card. Lottoing was one of the first sets I ever came across with on Magic, you know, and I'm pretty sure one of my friends had this card a couple years ago, so one of the guy that actually introduced me to the game and one of the guys that I used to play with. So, you know, I thought I saw it, I mean, and I thought, well, I'm gonna buy it because why not? Plus it's a decent card, not gonna lie. So this one's done. This one only has one little card, you know. Try to be careful with this. Like it's a treasure Tribute Mage, probably bought it for my Commander Yorion deck, you know, it's the only deck that I actually have, so have made right now. It's a card that its ETB says you may search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 2, reveal that card, put it into your hand and shuffle your library. As you know, Yorion decks are value trains basically, so this card can get me a lot of good artifacts with low mana costs, at least a lot of mana rocks that will help me do the other shenanigans that I want to do, so seems pretty good. I'm not gonna pick this one up, it's a Temple of Deceit. I bought it just because, you know, it's a tap land, but it's better than a normal island or a swamp, so why not? This pile right here, I'm thinking about making an elf commander deck. I always like tribal decks, elf tribal decks especially, and I always wanted one, so I thought this was the time. When I say I buy these cards for deck A, B or C, I'm not saying they are 100% guaranteed to go in the deck, but you know, I just have a little bit more options. So for the deck I got Tireless Provisioner, Oakham, I don't know how it's pronounced, Adversary, Elvish Visionary, Rishkar Pima Renegade, Sky Shroud Ranger. This is Zendikar's Royal, I think it's in Portuguese, but I think that's the name. And basically it has landfall. Every time a land enters the battlefield under my control, I'll put a 2/2 green elemental token on the field. I know it's not an elf, but with something like Maskwood Nexus, for example, that doesn't really matter. So fantastic. Real Mystic. Now I'm still on the fence about what colors to actually choose for my elf deck. I'm thinking about green, obviously, blue and black. So Real Mystic is a good card if I go with the blue route. Nettle Sentinel, Reclamation Sage, and Unclaimed Territory. Again, not one of the best lands, but if you're building a tribal deck, it's better than a regular, I don't know, a regular forest or whatever, because you can add mana of any color to your mana pool, and if you're a little mana screwed, especially if you have more than one color in your deck, obviously, if you're a little mana screwed, or you know, it's the beginning of the game and you need to fix something, this is better than it doesn't enter tapped or anything, so it's better than a regular land card. Now for my for this pile right here, this is for my, again, tribal goblin deck that I want to build. Nothing too crazy. Again, I wanted the Den of the Bugbear, I think that's the name, but it's more expensive than this one. This is super cheap and it's better than a regular mountain, so you can buff up your creatures several times if you have the mana to pay, so why not? I'm laughing because I find, first of all, this card looks amazing. I don't know if you can really see, probably not that well, but I found it hilarious that whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you can create a colorless equipment artifact token named Rock with equipped creature as 1 tap, sacrifice Rock. This creature deals 2 damage to any target. Basically, this means that you can throw rocks at people. And I find that hilarious, but you know, here we go. Grenzo Dungeon Warden, the same as just like in the elf commander deck that I'm thinking about building. I don't really know what colors I'm gonna make the goblin deck, so at least these two I'm certain that I'm going to use. I'm fairly certain that I'm going to use. Rakdos seems like a pretty good option for this tribe. And thinking about that, Sling Gang Lieutenant, Goblin War Chief, Goblin Chain Whirler, I think that's how it's pronounced, Goblin Ringleader, Mogwar Marshal, and that's it. I thought there was another one. Okay, and for the last one, what we have are a couple of cards that I just thought that, you know, they were cheap but good. Gretchen, Teach Willow, Simic cards doing Simic stuff. This one is Midsummer Revel. Again, it's in Portuguese, but I just translated it for you. Obsessive Stitcher, Jaya Ballard Task Mage. This one is pretty good. I don't know if I'm not going to add it to a deck in the future, honestly. Ravenous Squirrel, another one that's pretty good. You don't even need to go the Squirrel tribal route, you know. You can just build a deck and put this card there. It's gonna do work, I'm sure. Scaled Herbalist. Basically, it's a way to cheat land into play. Can't really be mad about that. Plain White Celebration. I found this extremely interesting. Yes, it's very expensive. It costs 7, but you basically have 4 options. You know, considering what you need, you can choose the same mode more than once. Choose 4. You may choose the same mode more than once. You either can create a 2/2 citizen creature token that's all colors. You can return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. You can proliferate, and you can gain 4 life. You can basically, if you're like only on 2 life, you play this, you gain 4 life 4 times, and now you're on 18 life. You know what I mean? You can create 4 2/2 citizen creature tokens. You can proliferate 4 times. You can return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. 4 permanent cards, that's what I meant. So you know what I mean. Gives you a lot of options. Seems pretty good. Shamanic Revelation, I think that's the name of the card. Again, really like the artwork. It's foil. I don't know if you can see. I think you have, you know, I think there's too light, but you can tell a little bit. Really like this. Piper of the Swarm, great card. You don't need to go to the rat route, you know, the tribal rat route. First of all, it looks amazing. I know you cannot see very well, but it looks amazing. Rats you control have menace. You can pay 2 and tap it and create a rat token. Or you can pay 4, tap it, and sacrifice 3 rats and get control of target creature. This is fantastic to steal your opponent's creature. So again, super cheap, looks amazing. It's pretty good. I don't know why people don't, you know, I don't know why it's so cheap, but I'm not gonna complain. Rishadan Dockhand, like the card itself, nothing too crazy. Private Research. This one seemed very interesting. If you can make a creature you own last for a couple of turns, this will draw you a pretty decent amount of cards. If you put it on an inconspicuous creature, your opponent might even forget about it, you know? And when that inconspicuous creature dies 3, 4, 5 turns after, you basically draw 3, 4, 5 cards. So, you know, it costs 1. You can put it out on the field really quickly. It's card draw. Everyone loves card draw. Gaia's Will. I mean, apart from looking amazing, it's also pretty good. You can play lands and cast spells from your graveyard, basically. So it has to spend 4. That's the downside of it, but it gives you basically 4 turns to put a lot of stuff in your graveyard. So not everything's bad. Mythos of Snapdax. I really like this card. If you pay 4 plus Rakdos, you know, 2 colorless, 2 white and a black and a red, you choose the permanents for each player instead of letting them choose those permanents, and you just, you know, board wipe the rest basically. So you can put the crappy permanents they own, the worst ones they own, let them stay on the battlefield, and just say bye to the rest basically. Gives you a lot of options too. Custody Soulbinders. Again, I found this one interesting. It can either enter the battlefield as a 2/2 or a 10/10, you know. In a commander game, I can see it entering the battlefield with a huge amount of counters easily. Plus, you can pay 3 and just start creating tokens, right? In a spirit deck or in a deck like my Yorion deck, that, you know, in a couple of turns you create some tokens, you then exile it, make it return. It enters the battlefield already accounting for those tokens you created, you know. Seems like a pretty decent card, nothing too crazy, but dual caster mage, everyone knows what this one's about, so not even gonna spend a lot of time with it. It's pretty good, as we can all tell. Ornithopter of Paradise. First of all, really like the look of this on this card. Again, I know you can't really see very well, I apologize, but it's a 0-2 for 2. It's a mana dork basically. Now, Inevitable Betrayal. This one is first of all, the card is beautiful, period. Look at this, it looks amazing. I'm gonna buy more just because of the look, maybe 3 more at least, because I only bought 1 now. I should have bought more. Even more important than that, you can actually steal your opponent's biggest threat. I bought this because this card just seems pretty good, but I'll probably add it to my Yorion deck as well. I can see this card making a lot of damage if I pair it with something like a Scholar of the Ages, or maybe a Naromaya Master Wizard, you know. It's really cheap too, seems like it should be in a lot more decks than it is, but I'll take it. I'm not gonna complain getting this card so cheap. The fact that you can search target opponent's library for a creature card and put that card onto the battlefield under your control, like, you don't have to exile it at the end, you don't have to give it back at the end of your turn, you know, it just stays there. It costs only 3, and if you can keep playing it over and over again, that's why I talked about Scholar of the Ages, for example, this card can put in a lot of work. Seems pretty good if you ask me, but what do I know? Maybe I'm misreading something, I don't know. For the looks alone, I'll probably buy more. Dika, Fractal Theorist, Stalking Leonin, like this one. This one, again, I just found like entertaining, you know, interesting. The idea of choosing an opponent secretly and when the time comes, destroying a creature that's attacking me just seems, you know, like a fun thing to do. It seems like a good card to have some nice conversations around in the table. Rise of the Dread Marn, just like Inevitable Betrayal, I don't know why this is so cheap. It seems pretty good, to be honest. You don't even need to be playing with zombies. Just wait for a board wipe to hit the table. I mean, you can play one yourself, right? But just wait for a board wipe to hit the table, and this card can make you become an immediate threat while your opponents are still trying to rebuild some board presence, you know? Especially if you can find a way of playing it several times. So create X to 2 black zombie berserker creature tokens, where X is the number of non-token creatures that died this turn. Seems like not an auto include, but seems like a pretty good card in a lot of decks. So I don't know, maybe I'm misreading something, misunderstanding something. It's also very cheap. It has foretell, so you can, let's say turn 2 you pay 2, foretell this, and you just pay 1, and you know what I mean? Like, it seems too good, but again, maybe I'm misreading something. This one is basically Inevitable Betrayal, but luck dependent, you know. If you choose the Interrogate Them option, you can exile the top 3 cards of target opponent's library, choose one of them. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card, and you may spend mana as though it was mana of any color to cast. It's much worse than Inevitable Betrayal, but it does a similar thing if you're lucky. I didn't buy it because of that. I just thought that it's a good card, basically, but you know, win-win. Duelist's Heritage. Again, I found this one, I'm gonna repeat myself, but I found this one very interesting. It seems like a good way of politicking with your opponents. The best part of it is you can choose any creature on the table. You might kill anyone with 1 attack, and you won't even need to do anything besides letting your opponents know that you're gonna give creature A or B double strike, right? People might hate you, people might love you, depending on how you choose to use this, but seems like a pretty interesting card nonetheless. Takashima's Will. With the right board state, this could be a game changer, obviously. If your opponent has a bunch of tokens, for example, he will give you a crappy 1/1, I'm sure, but if you time this right, you can take a real game changer out of their board and put it into yours. Or if you have a huge threat and a bunch of crappy tokens, you can just make a bunch of huge threats instead. Seems like a card that gives you a lot of options and, again, super cheap. Sakashima's Protege, just like Sakashima's Will, this is one that you have to time it right, but you know, a creature that can enter as a copy of any permanent that entered the battlefield this turn, sign me up, you know, seems like a great option. Plus it has Cascade, so it's basically a 2-for-1. Yes, it's expensive, but I think it's still worth the, you know, the cost basically. Dredge the Mire, another one that's great for stealing your opponent's stuff, in this case out of your opponent's graveyards. Okay, yeah, they'll probably give you the crappiest creatures, but you won't just get a 1/1 that doesn't do anything. Most people won't really have those on their deck, especially in Commander. At least they'll let you ramp or draw a card or kill something for sure. Again, if you can replay this, you're bound to hit something good. So again, super cheap and gives you options, in my opinion at least. Mimic Vad, another interesting one. It's another way of stealing stuff from your opponents. I promise I'm not a kleptomaniac, I just find this interesting. You may even do that to your own creatures and get one final turn out of them before exiling them. I think it's a very flexible card, to be honest, you know. You just gotta choose what you want to spend your 3 mana on, but you can play your opponent's creatures, you can replay your creatures. Seems like pretty good just for 3 mana, can't really complain. This one is just cool, man. It's a group hug card where basically you give your opponents a little and you end up taking a lot if they accept. You can't say no to that, right? So this was it, everyone. I'm gonna put the rest of the items here just to give it a final showing basically, but I hope you really enjoyed the video. This was my first video of this kind of thing. I know it's not perfect, but I think it was enjoyable at least. Let me know down in the comments how you'd improve my performance, let's put it that way, you know. Let me know if there was any cards you particularly enjoyed, if there was something you didn't really know about, or if I'm misreading something and I'm just taking it way out of proportion. And that was it, that was the video. Don't forget that I'm gonna make a separate video just talking about these 2 Commander precons right here. And you know, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, comment, subscribe if you're enjoying the videos. It helps out the channel a lot. We're almost at 50 subscribers. It seems kind of unreal, to be honest, even though it's a small number for a lot of people, but it's something that I really enjoy, so I appreciate every single one of you. And that's it. I'll see you on the next one.